we're going to try to do another audience question here. And again, we want this to make this a regular feature. We're still trying to work out the kinks of it, but so far it's working out pretty good, I'd say.
Well, I'm not entirely sure we can call this gentleman an audience member.
No,
No.
He's in the audience room right now.
He's in the audience room.
He's watching us.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got that ACA crew shirt on.
He's got that crew shirt on, which is suspicious, but we'll talk to him anyway. So let's see if we're going to get the audience cameras on there. What's going on, mysterious crew member who I don't know the name of? What is your name?
My name's Colson.
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 Colson?
Yeah, that's Colson.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Well, Colson, where are you from?
I'm from Georgia, although I live here in Austin now.
Awesome.
In fact, the ACA was a big part of that, so for doing what you do.
We're just joshing around here. Colson is somebody who's been helping us for a while now in the crew, so thanks so much, Colson, for doing all that you do. But you got a question for us? I mean, what do you need to know, Colson?
Like I said, I grew up in Georgia, and at the time I was a Southern Baptist, pretty, I was a young earth creationist, the whole nine. And I've found, as I've moved around, that Austin in particular has been very welcoming to atheists. No small part thanks to you guys, I'm sure. So I was wondering if you'd ever had in your life, if you've ever had a particularly uncomfortable situation with a theist out in public, or if not, maybe you could speak to some of the areas that you've been in the U.S. that are a little bit more friendly to atheists. I know, for example, that my hometown. I would not want to be sharing that I was an atheist in my hometown. It would be very uncomfortable.
Yeah. I got stories. You got stories, Jim?
I don't really.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Here's the thing. I'm not just an atheist. I'm like an atheist that's like on the internet, right? So like that has complicated a lot of relationships, both like intimate or otherwise, right? It's just because it just adds an extra dimension to it. Like I am the guy with the fedora and like the neck beard on the computer talking about atheism, right? Like I'm fulfilling the stereotype. But like, obviously this is important to me and I believe in what we're doing here. So like I've decided that this is what I wanted to do. And of course, there's people in my life who knew me as a Christian. And so some of those people found out that I wasn't a Christian anymore because they saw me on a show that gets like thousands of views. So it's like, that was kind of a shock for some of them. I remember one girl that I used to work at a church camp. I was actually a manager at a church camp, and she was somebody that I picked to like hire and stuff. And she called me up saying, Dan, what are you doing? You're going to go to hell. Like she literally said, like, aren't you worried about like the salvation of your soul? And that was like pretty hard to deal with because it's like, wow, this person that I knew and was great friends with is now like giving me this proposition about my eternal damnation, I guess, and whether or not I choose to accept it. Of course, I gave her the answer that, I really don't believe that's what's going to happen to me. And like the threat of violence is not going to coerce me into belief, like that. Just because you think it's going to happen to me doesn't mean that I'm going to change my mind on it. Of course, that's really sad. But like even outside of people who know me for doing this, I remember there was one guy I talked to, I was friends with for a while. And I told him one day I was an atheist. I can't remember the context of the conversation. He's like, oh, Dan, I just thought you were a Christian because you're so nice. And it's just like, I can't be a nice person and not be a Christian like that. That one has always stuck out to me in my mind. So, yeah, I got a lot of stories like that. What about you, Jim?
No, I mean, every once in a while someone will recognize me, but it's never an awkward situation. I think the most awkward it's been a few weeks ago, I went to a funeral for my uncle. That side of the family is still very religious. Still, they've always been. And so, of course, it was a full Catholic funeral. And my cousin, he knows that I'm out, or that I'm an atheist, because he is on my Facebook page. And he said, thanks for coming. I'm surprised you haven't been struck by lightning yet. And I laughed. And I could feel in my head, guns training, and okay, we're getting ready. And it's like, no, this is neither the time nor the place for any type of conversation along those lines. Despite my cousin jokingly and in fun making that comment that there was not, I mean, that's the most awkward it's been for me. So I haven't had a whole heck of a lot. But honestly, the most activism that I do at the moment is the shows. So I haven't been on as long as Dan. And, Dan's got his own show that his name is attached to, and I've got kind of attached to Atheist Experience. So just haven't had the same type of awkward conversations.
I will say this. In Austin, I don't know if it's that people are accepting. It's more so people just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They just don't care, really. And that's a good thing. Like I have coworkers who are Christian and they know that I do this show and stuff, and they don't even ask me questions about it. They just don't care. And you know what? I almost prefer that in a way. It's like, yeah, maybe we should just move on from all this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's going to be some sort of ideological differences you're going to find at one point or another, but like as far as my working space is concerned, that doesn't actually matter. Obviously it's a little harder when you have friends and family who are closer to you and maybe want to invite you to particular gatherings that are religious in nature, or maybe they vote a certain way because of their religion, and that's where you might find some conflict. But here in Austin, man, this is a city of weirdos, dude. We're not the weirdest people here. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
there's people
really
who we're not even in like the top 10. Like
No.
there's a lot of people who I'd be way more concerned about.
Yeah. Well, too, I mean, traveling around, and like I live with my girlfriend in East Texas, and right now, and when you go out there, you don't see any churches with rainbow flags. You see a lot of exactly what you would expect.
Yeah.
Living in East Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
But here in Austin, I think I'm more surprised when I see a church that doesn't have a rainbow symbol.
Yeah.
Or something else equally welcoming to everybody here.
Yeah.
Than out there. And so, yeah, Austin is a big blue dot and a big gerrymandered red state. And I do mean gerrymandered.
Yeah, we are a blue oasis in a sea of red.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it is. And it's cool. Also, wait, how about you, Colson? You like living in Austin?
Oh yeah, it's great. I've been here over a year now, and yeah, I mean the only awkward thing that ever happened was with my grandma. So I'll let her story be private. It's my grandma, but
Sure.
But it was just that. Well, never mind.
That's fine.
We have another family member that is an atheist and is out about it. But at the time I was having this conversation with my Nana, she didn't know that I was an atheist, and I don't think she still does, but that's fine.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, so and so is an atheist, and what do you think about that?" And I was just kind of like, "Oh, that's interesting." She said, "Well, that's a fine way to live, but that's no way to die." And I just said, "Oh,
Yeah. I remember when my grandmother passed away last year. I remember the pastor saying the most important thing about her life. I'm paraphrasing here, obviously, but one of the most important things was that she was a Christian. Before she died. And it was just like, that was not the most important thing to me. I'll tell you that much right now. Like, maybe that's the important thing to the big man upstairs if he's out there, but that is not what's important to me. What's important to me was that she was a good person and that she treated other people with kindness and respect, and anybody can do that. You don't have to have a particular religious faith to adhere to, principles of human decency. But that's why we're here, right? We're trying to convince other people that that's true. And we're doing it one day at a time. But anyway, Colson, thanks so much for giving us your question there. And thanks for all the hard work you do behind the scenes.